Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cobalt Poets, week number 257 of our virtual series. Happy to have you all here with us. Thanks for bearing with me the last couple of weeks when I was away on vacation. Addie and I had a really nice time in Japan. Most of that time was spent on a boat in the waters around Japan. So does that even count? I'm not sure. But we did stop in a number of cool places around the island of Japan, places that I'd previously never heard of, but now won't ever forget. We even got to go to South Korea, the gorgeous city of Busan, which I didn't even know existed before a couple of weeks ago, and was so impressed with the, if I may, gorgeousness of the city without offending anyone. It was really a nice place to be. We had a great time. It was incredibly indulgent. Um, and What a thrill it is to be back home having to prepare our own meals and do things like that. We also spent a couple days at the end of the trip at the Disney Sea Park outside of Tokyo, which was really fantastic. If you're a fan of Disney, and it might excite you to be at different parks in different places of the world, as it does Addie and I, in addition to just seeing all the places that aren't Disney parks. Disney Sea is probably the most beautiful of all the Disney parks that we've been to. It's really an extraordinarily place with an amazing attention to detail and things like that. Anyway, I'm back. We're back. Cobalt is happening. It's great to have you all here tonight. In addition to our open reading, our featured reader is Daniel Mahoney. Daniel, I'm excited that you're here with us. Welcome to Cobalt Poets. We are going to do a little bit of our open reading first, and then we will get to Daniel, who will read, and then we'll have the rest of the open reading. As I already mentioned, Julian Matthews will be up first, thanks to the random order uh, situation that we govern our lives by here at Cobalt Poets. Just a quick answer. No, I didn't see any zombies in Busan, but there was a whole lot of Little Prince artwork on the streets. So I don't know if that counts. It's the closest I've got to zombies there. If you would like to read in the open and you haven't already done so, send me a message in the chat and I will be happy to add you to the list, um, just like Carrie Cox did. Um, so that's how it works. You say, "Can I read?" I add you to the list. And even if it takes me a little while to acknowledge you because I'm busy saying all these introductory remarks and trying to press buttons and keep on top of things, thank you for your patience, everyone. Um, what else can I tell you? We do have a one drink minimum here at the Cobalt Cafe. This is my first tequila since I think the last time I was with you. So this is an awfully exciting moment for me. I also have water as a standby. So you could go in any direction with the one drink minimum. Finally, make sure that you have the chat room open. The chat room is where you all can interact with each other since everyone is muted during the festivities. You can post links of things that you mention when it's your turn to read. You can send each other private messages, um, etc. I believe that's everything I need to tell you before I move on. We move on collectively. I'd like to ask if there are any questions. Richard Loringer, shooting his hand up before anyone else.
Yes, I'm kind of excitable tonight. I know that's unusual. Rick, I know you went to Japan and all, but the real question is, did you purchase a Kamita summer special of packs of 7 rice crackers?
I don't think I did, but I couldn't read all the labels of the many, many things I was purchasing willy-nilly. So it's possible, I suppose. I haven't gone through and translated everything I purchased. Who knows
Well, this
what's
one
in the small packages that
has
I
little
that came
pictures of what each one is a flavor of. Uh-huh. I'm just saying, if that's the most important part of Japan, I think. Thank you.
Thank you for boiling down Japan for us all. Richard Lawrence, your good question. Cathabella Wilson, what about you? What's your question?
Rick, did you notice any cracks in the sidewalk in Japan?
Um, I didn't notice cracks per se. They might have had the most crack-free sidewalks I've ever experienced. Now that you've brought it up, what I did notice,
In Japan.
what I did notice is there are grooves down the center of the sidewalks everywhere in Japan, not just in Tokyo, but all over, which I
Uh,
gather are for people who are sight challenged to use their canes
yeah,
inside, which I think is pretty.
I've seen that. I know what you're talking about. I forgot. Yeah.
But if there were cracks, I would assume that that's just how the light gets in.
How the light gets it?
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. All right,
Thank you. Thank you.
Cathabella, good question. Any other questions before we get moving? Chris Kondo, yes, Japan native or resident anyway, here to ask a question. Chris, you have to respond to the unmute request there. I'm
Okay,
clicking the
sorry.
ask.
Just cracks
There
in
you
the
go.
sidewalk. Yes, there are cracks, and maybe they do let the light in, but we do have earthquakes here, and they don't get around to repairing them all the time. And the grooves, especially on slopes, they always have grooves on the sidewalks and the roads for helping people navigate the slopes. The grooves that you saw, Rick, on the sidewalks. Okay, that's enough for me. Not a question. I
Can you
was just
phrase that as a question, Chris? This is the question and answer
okay.
period.
We'll ask the groovy people if the grooves are for walking up the hills and down. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chris. All right, excellent. Well, any other questions before we get going? All right, fantastic. Let's get going then. Five open readers, then our featured reader, Dan Mahoney, on deck. Our second reader is Nathan. Nathan, glad that you're here. Please welcome our first reader, Julian Matthews. Hello, Julian.
Hi. May I share screen, please? Okay. So this is for Andrea. This is a photo by Coco Aramaki. For Andrea. You know how we throw spaghetti against the wall to see whether the pasta is done? Sometimes I think of you as that sacrificial strand. You fish yourself out of boiling water and fling yourself against the hardness of the world, and your words come out concrete and whole, plastered like a squiggle scar in each of our hearts. You said, in the end, I want my heart to be covered in stretch marks. Well, you left our hearts tattooed with your metaphor so unusual, so surprising, so Andrian, that they tickled our pleasure hormones into surrender, made our eyes shine brighter, and on stage we see the light coming out of your mouth and pointed finger like a deleted scene on E.T. And we are all Elliots on flying bikes trying to get you home. You once wished the dark masses the doctor scanned on your ovaries were alien implants. And how we all wished that too when we found out that somehow the aliens did it only to study you more closely than the other 8 billion of us humans, because you were this outworldly creature, this force of nature, this super terrestrial that spouted truth like silver bullets, that laser shot verses into adamantium hearts, that dropped mics at every performance like they were manna from some ethereal entity. You self-affirmed, you better be lightning, just before going in front of a hostile audience. Well, you were thunder as well. In fact, the whole storm, the whoosh of the wind, the uproar of rain, the rattle against our windows and doors, and even the calmness after. You were honest, raw, visceral, and vulnerable. The voice of a generation and of generations to come. You doused us with your profound, generous rain in your disguise as a poet, when really you were a prophet, probably sent from above or below or everywhere in between or nowhere at all. You graced us fortunate souls to have lived in your same breath space and sealed our fractured hearts with your bolt of wit and wisdom, and we were hungry, hungry to be struck again and again by your compassion and hope for humanity. You were never terminal. You were just stuck between flights with time to kill. And I'm left wishing I could have bumped into you at the duty-free just to say, hello. And you smile that crooked smile and pull out a frozen icicle to soothe my swollen heart and lean close and whisper in my ear, your wound is never going to be bigger than you are, but what? You're on your own now, kiddo, but I got your back, so live, live, live. And you slowly pull away, waving on a level-hearted walker-later onto your next destination, strangely enough, without any baggage. And I stand there holding onto your words like scripture, wet-cheeked and dribbling on my boarding pass with my sacred flight number flickering on the screen, calling, calling, calling. And yours already says, departed. Thank you.
Julian, thank you so much. Many people have been commenting that we lost poet Andrea Gibson this week. And I know many people here were familiar with their work and impact that they had through the work that they did besides their work. So I appreciate you sharing that piece with us, Julian, to open up this reading. Thank you so much for being here. A round of applause for Julian Matthews. On deck, Sean Mahoney. Please welcome now Nathan Horowitz. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Rick. Hello, Julian. Hello, everybody. Hello, Andrea, who said they're with us still, which is wonderful and beautiful. Two little poems here. First is called Artist Statement. I was asked to provide an artist statement when I submitted some work recently and thought that was an interesting prompt. Artist Statement. When life gives you artichoke pate, eat. If you understand Whitman, you are him. I want a personal pre-Columbian pyramid. If I can't get one, I'll settle for a gargoyle that spits rainwater from a corner of my roof. When I write, my brains spill out my fingertips. You can never step into the same poem twice. I practice serial monogamy. I'm a granola guy. I'm looking for a ranch for a dozen dragons. They eat a lot of cattle, so it has to be big. When your heart touched mine, I resounded. I live in the most Baltimore city in the world. I will love all the arts till the seas lose their foam and the only thunder is origami. And the second poem is called The Julie Belt. This morning, I threaded the Julie Belt through the loops of my jeans and remembered I hadn't written the Julie Belt poem yet, though I had a thick draft. The poem's crux was a story Julie told me of the previous time she'd fallen off the wagon. Within an hour after the first drink, she was sitting in the back of a stranger's car, sucking crack smoke from his mouth. I said that showed joie de vivre and a sense of adventure, but she wouldn't be sold on the charm of her dark side. It was dark and it was dusk in her tiny flat in Houston. We'd known each other at boarding school. She'd had short hair and worn flannel shirts. I'd wanted to kiss her ears. 33 years later, she was putting me up because I had a job interview to teach at a community college. She was a Methodist, a psychiatric nurse, and a breast cancer survivor with a Harley, an ex-wife, and an attachment to the wrong meds. We could have talked till dawn, but for the interview. At midnight, she said goodnight. She popped a pill and was out. In the morning, she gave me the belt because I'd left mine in Kansas. She said I could keep it. I interviewed and flew home. Within a year, Julie had moved to New Mexico and killed herself. The snake of her memory hugs my waist, gripping its tail in its mouth.
Summertime and the Nathans are easy. That is, I'm guessing your schedule is more open to being able to be here, which is good for us, Nathan, because we get to hear your work, which I enjoy quite a bit. Thank you so much for being here
Thank
tonight.
you, Rick. Yeah, thanks.
Round of applause for Nathan Horowitz. On deck, Denise Dumars. Please welcome now Sean Mahoney. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here tonight for no particular reason whatsoever. I have one poem for you. It's kind of a dedication to our mother, me and Junior. It's our mom, and I'm gonna butcher a couple of pretty famous pop songs along the way while reading it to you. This is called Drift Away Symphony. Day after day, I'm more confused, but I look for the light in the pouring rain. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I want to get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. I hear these songs, these unbridled celebrations of a difficult to harness feeling, an elusive pattern of heartstrings, cherry cola, and brain freeze. Overuse of four-letter words, love, ache, abuse of wishing while the stars are out and your window rests just ajar. Let me in. Please hold me and my storms. Sing softly while a door opens for you. I embrace my mother, who graced me her sight that I might realize worth, my heartbeat encased in her heartbeat. I am heroic thanks to her. I have bottled dragons and expectation, battled thick books, kitchen downpours, returned humbled and still hungry. I believe in love because of her. She let me make mistakes. She cherished my fails and shined my successes. Those tears that fill my eyes, I cry not for myself, but for those who've never felt the joy we felt. Whenever you're near, I hear a symphony. And peace.
Sean, I'm excited for you as well. I don't know that we revealed this today, but it's been all I've been thinking about for weeks that tonight's featured reader is your brother. So congratulations on achieving that. And as well as for the singing, every time someone sings during the reading, I just want to say dinner and a show. So you've given us everything tonight.
Send a cocktail to my table, please. I'd appreciate it.
Will do. Let me just find the button that does that, and we will make that happen. Sean, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for putting Dan on our radar as well.
You're welcome.
I hope he does you proud. Otherwise, it's going to be embarrassing.
I don't think he's going to sing, though, so I'm sorry to everybody. I apologize in advance.
I'm already disappointed. My God. Sean, thanks for being here. Round of applause for Sean Mahoney. Two more readers than our featured reader. On deck, Ike Waltz. Please welcome now Denise Dumars. Hello, Denise.
Hi. Gosh, I feel like I should read about dragons tonight. That seems like that would be a great theme. I'm going to read two somewhat short ones for a change. This one came from a time when I was trying to learn how to teach online, and there are strange things about the internet that I still don't get. This one is called "My Skin is Space." The lesson in an online class is for me to change my skin. My choices, staying unchanged, not an option. Terminally pink blossoms, a photogenically weathered barn, a sunset over a Balinese, I like to think, beach. But there's nothing here for me, except the skin called space. Some beliefs teach that we are but an eyelash mite on the body of the universe. Others say we are whole worlds within ourselves, microcosm, macrocosm. But if I've learned only one certain thing, it is that my skin is space. And this is a little one, fairy ring on my lawn, emissaries in the sunlight of the brains of the operation, hidden deep below the ground, alien face in the grass, asking to speak to our real leader. Thank you.
Please let me know when you find out who our real leader is, Denise, because I'd love to put them in touch with any more intelligent beings that are out there. Thank you so much for being here. I love the line, "My skin is space." That stopped me in my tracks. Well done. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Denise Dumars. On deck is our featured reader, Dan Mahoney. Please welcome now Ike Waltz. Hello, Ike.
Hi. I like to sleep softly. It was only last night that I had dinner with our former judge. He told me, "You are so right. Eat your dinner. I like to sleep softly too." It was the greatest dream in my shattered world, America. But when I saw what I saw, I felt the corruption, the pain of the old world legalized in the name of the same God. American justice, dreams on a slippery road. It's all about winning, really. Justice is done, isn't it? Ideals unable to see, clinging on to the absurd. The stale echo, we are the land of the free, the land of that so archaic Wild West culture, that unbuttoned holster, that loop that should guard, that trigger that kills its citizens in a pop of a bubble gum. Lost hopes smothered by accusations of the bizarre. The Uzi did not kill Susie. Susie was killed by a crazy man. The Uzi will not be charged, but reloaded as soon as one can. I don't understand. Is there a mutation of the genes? Is it fast food obesity? Have we become all madmen? The perpetual future mixed in 21st century flux only offers sensational news, honesty diluted with obedience and fear, mager alternative that hates any truth, where white men can say all is white and little acknowledges the black and brown in us. Black hates white, white hates black. Everybody hates brown, and brown hates us. And my neighbor's dog hates with no reason, but love yourself unconditionally and respect the political correct. Mine is mine, and yours is mine, and terribly fake as we pretend to fuck in our dreary beds. It's such a hypocritical oxymoron, can't you tell? Who else can? It's always that ice cold loaded gun. Memories reignite that familiar call for that ruthless I am super American strong that will make us and you great again. Hail our leader Taco King Kong, who gangbusters his picky roast breast. And here is my song. Who is roaming through that wide open land? It's freedom, weaponized with a loaded gun. It's freedom with a loaded gun in our manly, blooded hands. It's freedom, the ultimate outdated amend. Haven't I survived it all before? Yes, once I was all for me. I called me free. So into me. Now I'm against me too. How did we lose that common sense? Confused is our place in that horrid killing game. Hysterical protectionate, self-inflicted amend. So insane. And in truth, we are not even interested to talk at all. You told me, in your own words, love it or leave it, go home, where you came from. Yes, I ignored it. The matter of fact is, I'm still here, as poets are everywhere. My heart is bleeding for the America of naive immigrant dreams. Help us to understand why we lost that dream long, long ago. Why we lost us within. Help us to mend our soul. Help us to prevent that there is not another war provoked on our end. Please help, so we all can sleep softly without that loaded gun. P.S. I stay my ground without a gun, as poets save lives. Thank you.
Ike, thank you very much. May you continue to save lives with your words in all the ways that are possible. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Round of applause for Ike Waltz. On deck after our featured reader will be Richard Loringer. So stand by, Richard. That leads us now to our featured reader, Daniel Mahoney. Daniel's brother, Sean, of course, is a regular here at Cobalt Poets and reached out to me suggesting Dan to be a featured reader. And since at best we're a nepotistic organization, that's really all it took. That's all the credentials I needed to ask Dan to read in our space tonight. It just so happens that Daniel is a fantastic poet who's done quite a lot of work within poetry, both for his own work as well as for other poets as well. He is a writer and translator whose work has appeared in journals all over the world. He would have had no problem, I'm sure, translating the Japanese packages that were referred to earlier. He's the author of Sunblind Almost Motor Crash, which is a book and cassette project, which I was astounded by. It takes quite a lot in 2025 to put out physical media, but to put out cassettes, dear Lord, I bet it didn't come out too recently, but that's pretty cool. That's out on Spork Press, one of the most fun named presses I've heard of. Actually, it looks like it came out in 2015, back when cassettes were almost still a thing. As well as the chapbook Quantum Entanglement, which came out in 2017 on Hard to Swallow Press. He also is co-editor of the anthology In the Footsteps of a Shadow North American Literary Responses to Fernando Pessoa from Mad Hat Press, which came out this year. And in terms of the work he does for other poets, he's the editor-in-chief of Bateau Press. I'm excited about that because I just spent 9 days on a bateau. So, Dan, I'm really excited you're here. You come with great references, familial references, and a lot of great work under your belt. Thank you for being here. Please welcome our featured reader, Daniel Mahoney.
It's so exciting. Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me all right? Yeah. Okay. Um, first and foremost, thanks to my brother Sean for pointing me in your direction and you in my direction. This from what I've seen so far, you guys are a pretty insane and fabulous group. Keep meeting. It's sort of the lights that help us overcome all this darkness. So please keep doing that. And thank you to Rick for hosting this. And 257, man. I'm not going to sing, and I think that'll make this more memorable than if I do sing. So away we go. Um, this is called What Was Said. She said, "How could I use the word love when Guadalajara is far prettier?" She asked what I saw in my head when I stared through the window, and I, turning away from her, said something about an unmade bed, rusty tangerines, the hands of an old man. She said something dies in snow, didn't know what to call it. She curtained the windows, plucked a spider from the windswept valleys of the kitchen sink. She said my face was a summer of plums, a long winter of mountain lions. So I went to graduate school at UMass in Amherst, and had a professor named Shahed Ali, who was a Kashmiri poet, and popularized a form in the United States of the ghazal, which is an old sort of Arabic and Indian form of poem. And so everybody that went to grad school there learned to write ghazals. So I have a couple of them to read. This is just called ghazal. They have like a rhyme and a refrain. You'll be able to hear it, I hope. I looked into each night until it looked back, and I felt the abrupt madness of being run out of town on a plank, shouting, "The devils persist all the way home." Air is never enough to fill the arms of exile, so I became quiet as fruit in a bowl. Love was distance plus the price of a stamp, licked but not sent all the way home. I looked for the rhythm of our first embrace and found the music of border towns, sharing highways and arms tying off a fix all the way home. I want nothing more than to be your pencil. I want you to keep me behind your right ear and mark me with your teeth, your lips, all the way home. I offered my body to the church, to a room papered with trumpets, to a voice saying my soul was a city of false devotions, said the road would be slick all the way home. Jesus comes to me in my dreams, his body stretched Kansas to Sri Lanka, full of tattoos that read hot chocolate and cinnamon sticks all the way home. She's outside the house again with rocks, aims for windows, keeping them by inches inside or out. Rocks that children will kick all the way home. In the silence before the coffee, brush away your hair and say my name. Love is a person who eats and drinks. A name is the song of it all the way home. So one of the unique things about the ghazal is that the poet is supposed to say their name in the last couplet. And so you can have a lot of fun, sort of what names you're bringing up. This next one is a ghazal that I wrote for my friend James Foley, who I was in graduate school with and who was murdered by ISIS in August of 2014. And it's for poets and writers and artists about never giving up in dark times. So this is for Jim, but it's also for all of you. This is called Ghazal of Witness. It's hard to believe the arc of history bends towards justice when history repeats every 5 minutes and justice just is a girl's name. Fix yourself to the screen, try not to scream. We rack, we catch ourselves, then hang ourselves instead of our hats. Did you hear? The passengers are sick. The moon's a dead white fish. Did you hear they killed Lorca? Hung a sign that said he was here until he wasn't, here until the fascists killed him. They said, Mariposa, Mariposa, Mariposa. which means butterfly or faggot in Spanish. His sister got a call in Madrid, said diga, which means tell me or hello. Then Lorca's body fell dead through the phone. My heart, Jim, your face just now. This is not the end of it. Tyndale built his English Bible from the original Hebrew and Greek, so the church killed him twice. Strangled, then burned him. History is witness. We see through a glass darkly, and we write to take a swing at the darkness. The King James Bible is Tyndale. He lives in lines writers have ripped for centuries. Oh, brother, dear brother. We steal, we beg and borrow, we burrow, go toe to toe looking for truth because Nazim Hikmet said the point is never to surrender. If history is a lake of fire, a screen on some kid's Game Boy, then we are witness to rain, and the very sun is a gift, and nothing is finished. The sun still shines on the hill where they killed you, and the rain will never stop falling, even when we feel nothing but distance. Jim, I have to tell you, when I saw you on the screen, I didn't know until I knew, and your body fell through me like rain. And then the endless abyss. A day later, I brought my son to the cabin in Maine. You remember. He sat where you sat, looking out to sea, his body a furious abundance, a drift of your body, his face, your face. And that was all. You are no further from me than your work, growing as my son grows from the living truth of it. These are the names: Lorca, Hikmet, Tyndale, Foley. Their words speak louder than their deaths. Their work is a ministry of witness. Thank you. So Rick brought up Sunblind Almost Monocrash, which was a weird project. I started for no reason writing. Well, I don't know if there was a reason or not. Maybe God touched me. How about that? I started writing album reviews for imaginary albums and bands. So I would just wake up at 5 in the morning and just start writing the music that I heard in my head, which was weird music. But it was a fun task. And eventually I started sending the fake album reviews to real bands to see if the real bands could play the music on the review. And that was the project that got released as a cassette and book, because nothing says big money like a meta project with, meta poems and real musicians. And actually that project might be turned into a record. So stay tuned. Okay, so this is one of the challenges I think for that book was just sort of writing about sort of how people like to write about music, because music is really hard to write about. I think it was Frank Zappa that said writing about music is like dancing about architecture. So it just doesn't happen. So this is an album review for a black metal band, which I hope that everybody loves the black metal as much as I do. The title of the piece is called "It Came From Within." The artist is they're called Clairvoyant Hate Lurker. The album is Annihilation from Within, and the label is Buried Antler. Frenzied leads, frantic bits of spidery operatic vocals, dizzying chants like an entire race of forest sprites drowning in a bone-dense fiend swamp. The crushing low-end guitar cascade, the post-lamprey lumber misery and doomic blackness, song titles like Raw Prophecy, Unearth Molten Lead Incineration, All-Consuming Ashen Canvas, Rosenthal Psychotic Atrocities, Sorrow Cursed in Frostbitten Battlefields. This can only mean one thing: the return of the abyss fetishistic black metal horde, Clairvoyant Hate Lurker. The putrefied sucker punch and weirdly recycled guttural black chants of Clairvoyant Hate Lurker. The fucked up creepy reproductive slough slaughter of Clairvoyant Hate Lurker. The fury, the beast glory, the dense demonic wailing, the echoey horn blast and massive riffage, the off-kilter speed blast interludes, the unhinged necro-tribalism, of clairvoyant hate lurker. After years of silence from Norway's uber-celebrated anti-Christian superstars, clairvoyant hate lurker is back with their most disturbed slab of inspiringly damaged grim-robed fury. Annihilation from within. Band members Negril Colossi, Masalam, Belial, Cthulhu Spawn, and Morton Delegit wrapped themselves in a forest cabin outside Felstrand, Norway, composing a book and contemplating shattered spruce trees and demonically glowing ice crystals. Each musician spent days at a time alone in the autistic winter dark of Felstrand. Once back in the cabin, the initiate would lay down all-night blitzkriegs of riotous, razor-sharp, marrow-baked misery in the soundproof studio, a sort of satanic vision quest for metal-hissing, grim-faced Nordic pilgrims. Insane. As for the music, it's a propulsive brew of scattershot mesmeric guitar speed buzz and off-sounding slitherfield, like sun-crushed blast ballads full of expansive dark motion. The tattered sadness of sorrow cursed in frostbitten battlefields, with its oddly rectangular stop breaks and soaring violin swells, evokes a lone man walking towards the childhood village he knows has been bled into a banquet of nausea. It is all here, epically gnarled squall, overblown fuzzed out dirges, atonal minor key guitar progressions. Imagine guitars are chalices, chalices are blood, and blood pours over a marble altar full of mutilated she-goats. Now you're getting there. Unsettled. Brilliant. Remember, clairvoyant hate lurker does not exist. Don't look them up. Exactly. Okay, so and then this last project I've been working on just came out this year is a American or North American responses to Fernando Pessoa, who is a Portuguese modernist poet, who, if you don't know him, wrote under 5 distinct heteronyms, and then he died. He actually never really left Lisbon. And they opened his trunk kind of like Emily Dickinson's trunk, and they discovered 70 or 80 more heteronyms that he was writing under. So he questioned sort of this whole idea of like that writers are taught like discover your voice. He was like, why do I only have to have one voice? I have many, so I'm going to use them all. Kind of Whitmanian in that way. Anyway, so these are a couple of people, not me, because I don't like the poem that I published in the anthology. So I'm going to read a couple of other people's. This is called Oxcart by Johnny Lorenz. When I was no longer any use, they unfastened me from the animal, removed my wheels, and threw me in a ditch by the road. It's unclear to me if I'm still an ox cart. Everything moves and changes beneath their names. I might become wood for a fire. I might become the fire. If only my life were human, I'd believe in the names of things. And this is a poem by Tony Hoagland that we have in the anthology. And then I got one last thing by Chris Merrill. This is called The Question, and he has an epigraph here. We are what's missing from the world. And that's a Pessoa quote. Some questions have no answer. Raised, they hang there in the mind like open mouths full of something missing. The great Portuguese poet Pessoa said that the idea of happiness is what makes men permanently sad. The body imagining the soul looks ugly to itself. A man hears a word, and the world becomes a place that he misunderstands. So he climbs high into his life, ashamed of all he doesn't know and refuses to come down. If you could coax him out again, you could tell him, say, that anything can be explained. That shape of apples, for example, by their love of travel, or that the sky is blue because it's an easy color on the eyes. Even the dog chasing its tail has temporarily a center. Even the bird, disappearing into its hole, knows that the world goes on without it. And Pessoa, that eminently healthy man, that artist wore a blue wool hat even on the hottest summer days, simply to toss at strangers in the street. He liked to see them catch it and grow immediately less strange. Um, and then to close here, I had another album review by a less black metal band, but I think I want to close with my favorite thing that came of this project about Pessoa. Is we asked the contributors to send in notes about what it was about Pessoa for them, instead of, in place of like, I published this book and this book and I found this poem in this, or I published this poem in this magazine at the end of the book. And those were the most interesting part of the book for me, just listening to how other people related to this poet. So this is Chris Merrill. And I think this made so much sense to me as a writer, and I hope it makes sense for you too. Merrill's reflection on Pessoa. Fernando Pessoa has been one of my tutelary spirits for as long as I can remember. I read him first in Another Republic, the anthology edited by Mark Strand and Charles Simic, which I always keep close at hand. And the Book of Disquiet is for me a model for how to make sense of the fragments that float through my mind and sometimes end up on pages that may or may not ever amount to anything. While I have no poems that can be tied directly to him, since his influence on my work is more spiritual than poetic, the voices running through my lines seem to come from somewhere else, in the manner of his heteronyms. Pessoa taught me how to listen. Yeah, that's a good five. That's a good one right there. You know, anybody that can teach you how to listen. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'm looking forward to rest of the reading.
Daniel, thank you so much. I really enjoyed that quite a bit. Looks like Sean has no reason to be embarrassed, is the first thing I'll say. I closed my eyes towards the beginning of the reading, which happens a lot with me because I just have episodes. But I actually heard a lot of similarities in the tone and tenor of your voice and Sean. So there was an immediate familiarity going on with the way your voice sounded, and maybe even a little bit the way you intonated and words and things like that. But that having been said, what a stunning reading where so much fun and good happened. From My Face Was a Summer of Plums, which is a line in the poem for the broadside, which I'll show in a second. Oh, yes, we will have you back for an all-singing feature, by the way, just so you know, now that you've put that out there. I never feature anyone twice in all these years, but, you know, now I don't see a way around it. I love the fake reviews project concept, except the part where you wake up at 5 a.m. That sounds very not poet-like, so I'm not... You might have taken a little bit of the rock and roll away from it there. Stay up till 5 a.m. and write it? Think about that for the next one. Dancing about architecture is another cool phrase that you dropped on us, and what immediately I thought of was, I want to do the brutalism boogie. You know what I'm saying? I think it's possible. I don't see why we can't do that. What a great set of poems. I'm gonna paste some stuff into the chat and share the broadside that I made for your poem. There it is, the poem What Was Said that you read for us. Really wonderful poem. You can download this broadside now at the Cobalt Poets website, poetrysuperhighway.com/cobalt, or click on the link in the chat, and you'll go right to the broadsides page. It's an 11 by 17 print that you can have, download, print out, just look at on your screen, whatever you would like to do. I hope you'll consider tipping our featured poet, just like you might at an in-person reading when the hat goes around. It's a virtual hat. In this case, we have Dan's Venmo at Bateau_press, so please consider tipping Daniel for his reading there. You can check out Dan's book, Sunblind Almost Motor Crash, at Spork Press. Does it... click on unmute there, Daniel. Does it still come with a cassette if you buy it, Daniel?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's out of print right now, but yeah, if you stay tuned, maybe until the fall, we're thinking it might be a double album with the book in the middle of it.
That's perfect.
So for those of you who still have record players.
Well, record players are now back in fashion, so that is that's a thing. If you really want to be punk rock about it, I'd suggest 8 tracks. Just something to consider. At the very least, people can visit you at bateaupress.com. That link is also pasted there, and see what you're up to and the good work that you're doing there. Daniel, thank you again for the reading. Really great to hear you. I hope you'll come back and just participate. Your brother's here. You guys can yell at each other. It would be a great thing.
It's always fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Round of applause for our featured reader, Daniel Mahoney. Thank you, Daniel. And thank you again, Sean, for giving space for your brother in your sacred Cobalt place. Good to have you here. We'll mention next week our featured reader will be Blake Lynch. Blake is a poet who reached out to me with a request to read. He's a Pennsylvania poet. He's got a new book out on Finishing Line Press called Hanging the Angels. So Blake will be with us next week, of course, with our regular open reading, which we are now going to have the rest of tonight's open reading. Here's who I have on the list: Richard Loringer, The Collab, Cathabella, Siggy, Jackie, and Chris, Linda V.E. Crawford, Jennifer Elise Wang, Carrie Cox, Michael G. Hickey, and Christopher Bogart, and me. If I missed anyone, or if anyone would like to be added, please send me a message in the chat. I will be happy to add you. As a reminder, it's 2 poems maximum. I think I forgot to say that earlier, and yet you all somehow, the first 5 of you stuck with that anyway, so well done. And of course, the suggested time limit is less is more. So there you go. That's it. On with the reading. On deck is the collab. Please welcome now our next reader, Richard Loringer. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Daniel. That was awesome. Thanks. I'm like levitating slightly. So if I drop off the chair, that's what's going on. I usually do anyway. So, hey, everybody, I have a quick announcement and 2 very short poems since I went too long last time. So I'm going to be short tonight. So in Oakland, I'm in Oakland, and we have an amazing event pretty much every year called the Beast Crawl. Some of you have been to it, I think, and they are struggling with funding, so they're having a benefit for the Beast Crawl this year on the July 25th to 27th. If anyone's around Oakland, oh wait, here's I'm gonna put stuff in the chat. You can find out about the Beast Aid benefit at the first link, and it starts with one of these things, like with the little boxes and stuff, and from Collapse Press. And I'm actually going to be hosting that, and there'll be an open mic and a bunch of cool features, some of whom you know. And then I'm also hosting a reading of new Pledges of Allegiance from my Need a New Pledge project at the Beast Crawl, and there's a whole bunch of other events. So that's all. There's some stuff for you to click and not watch me. So I have 2 short ones, and the first one is goes out to the angry politicos in the audience and everyone else as well. Because last time I did a personal poem that went on for 30 minutes, and now I'm going to do one that goes for 30 seconds. And it's actually not a poem, it's a curse. I haven't written a curse in a while. I know how dangerous that can be. This is a curse. This is new. Curse to the masked ones. I can see you rotting in your grave, skin peeling back, muscle withered, eyes dried up, ligaments snapped, grimace pulled past teeth and jaw. May you be aware of that for centuries, and you know you will, as all the violence you set upon others comes back at you. Curse to the masked ones. It just leaked right out. Christopher Bogart, I'm really sorry. You're going to have to take my poems out of the anthology and put that in instead. So you're going to reprint everything. Yeah, because that one's better. Oh, yes. Actually, I did steal a couple lines from Clairvoyant Hate Lurker. And the second one is even shorter. And it was written, I don't know, a couple months ago in response to something that Paul Corman Roberts up here posted on something. Facebook or something. I don't know. And he had, I don't know what this was, if it was his quote. It sounds like a Julia Vinograd quote, but it said, he put, "Don't get too close. I'll turn you into poetry." And I don't know why, but this is what I wrote in response. "Make me a haiku, spray painted on the window of a shuttered bank." Okay. That's it for moi.
Richard, well done. As always, sad to hear that Beast Crawl needs some help. I was invited up there by a former Cobalt poet who passed away a number of years ago. Former in-person Cobalt poet who ran Pedestrian Press.
Jay.
Yeah, Jay DeSalvo.
Very close friends. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very supportive of me, and he was a person who came to the Cobalt from when he was a teenager, long before he moved up to Oakland, and he brought me up to Beast Crawl, and it was a great experience to be up there, and so I hope people give it the support that it needs to keep that thing going.
I think some good will come of it. Yeah, that, it's usually like one day, like 5 hours of 50 readings going on at once, and this time
Right.
they're doing like just at one place over the course of 2 afternoons, and so hopefully there'll be some joy. But I also sort of mentioned it because I'll be hosting an online reading much like this one on Friday the 25th. I don't even think I put the date on there. But it's in the Facebook event. That's all. Thanks.
Sweet. Thank you, Richard. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Richard Loringer. On deck is Linda V.E. Crawford. Please welcome now the Collab, Cathabella Wilson, Siggy from down east Maine, Jackie Chow, and all the way from Japan, almost brought her back with me, Chris Kondo. Hello to all of you.
All right, here we are.
Do you unmute?
And I'm unmuted, am I? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Cracks in the sidewalk.
Cracks on the sidewalk. Don't trip me. My dancing feet avoid them in time.
I see her across the street dancing down the sidewalk, her belly dance skirt. Jingle jangles.
Dry summer, cracks in sidewalk, dandelion grows, runners in street, next to a washboard path.
The sidewalk, glittering with mica, dreams that fell before becoming stars.
We just threw Peter in. Squares chalked on the sidewalk. No kids in sight. I tossed my car keys and hop, hop, hop. He's one of our favorites. He writes with us every week, but this is too late for him. Okay.
Suburbs without sidewalks seemed odd. Where would we walk or play hopscotch?
You can hear a wonderful Rick in the background. He'll tell you about that flute when we're done. Over and over, 100 steps in the tiny garden, all around the perimeter. Makes it bigger and bigger.
Childhood, independence, roamed freely. Abandoned houses, creepy in dark corners.
The holes, too small to be human, sandwich shared with the night critter.
Back home, after Dad left, Mom's flooded basement. Heidegger's metaphysics floats out of the closet.
Flooded basement, scooping water into buckets. mother's consolation, that it's good exercise.
Typhoon floods, the rivers roaring fills my ears, body as heavy as wet sand.
Nice.
Coming home to a flooded basement, how I felt first time the power of metaphor.
Invisible pressure of typhoon weather holding me down, this weight that makes it impossible to move limbs.
His terror, water coming in windows, sudden flood, escaped without ID, family rescued the next day.
Our quiet day, the day, our quiet walk, the day after the protest. Rosalinda chalked on the sidewalk. You are not alone. And Rick.
This is a suling, the indigenous flute in Java, the largest island in the
Indonesia.
Indonesia, yeah. And it only has 4 holes, and makes only a few sounds, but I like them.
I think it's a beautiful sound.
And we do too.
Show them some of the designs.
Oh,
quickly.
yeah, the decorations are always the idea of my flute maker. This
Who's
is
in
not,
Japan?
they're often, sulings are often engraved, but this is not in a Javanese style. It's his own style, burned into the bamboo.
And it has little green sparkles.
Oh, that's not worth talking about. If you look closely, there's a little bit of green there and another place. And up here, yeah, but
It's like eyes.
you can ask the maker, why did you do that? He does has
Because
no,
he could.
yeah, because he can, and then there's a funny mark here. I said, what does that mean? He says, that's my mark. So,
Thank you, Rick.
thank you for listening.
Yeah, adds a real depth. Thanks, everybody. That was fun.
Thank you for
There were
the-
some playful and deep feelings in there, I think, based on current experience. Thank you.
Thank you all very
Thank you,
much.
everybody.
Thank you for the Rick talk on flutes. We usually don't get that much from that guy. We never get poetry from Rick, and we just found out earlier that he's also a poet. I bet people already knew that, so maybe that could happen someday. We'd love to see Cathabella playing the flute and Rick reading poems sometime.
All right.
See
All
if
right.
we can work on that. So thank you, Cathabella. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Siggy. Thank you all very much for being here. A round of applause for the collab. On deck, Jennifer Elise Wang. Please welcome now Linda V.E. Crawford. Hello, Linda.
Hello, good evening. Glad to be here. I've got 2 relatively short poems. The first one, and may I share screen? Thank you. Now, this first poem, so my husband and I had cancer at the same time. His nasopharyngeal, mine breast. He died, I lived. I had to determine, should I make him aware of my medical condition? In the end, I did not. So it's that impetus for this particular poem. And then I'll read a second one. After I got caught picking stewed goat from my side teeth, having said I ate steamed bok choy, fresh fish with white onions and garlic, and told you there's nothing wrong, though one breast was sucking in chemo. I'm not sure what type of lies I tell. I used to say I only tell big lies, you know, the kind big enough to protect you and family, But sometimes I tell little lies, the ones to ease or pass, to let me slip by unnoticed, those to pause your tears, make your day set and rise. Ones we'll both forget, that I'll forget and get caught in. Actually, I don't remember which types of lie I tell. It's the first one. It's included in my collection, Wash in Water. And the second poem is a new one, unpublished, and it's generated by, I think, a simultaneous feeling of hopefulness and resignation all at once. The Lathering of Edicts, written on reading of yet one more. The people will support, the people will be sanguine, the people will be seized with fear, the people will be silent, the people will shout out in anguish, the people will protest, the people will swell out the streets, the people will be jailed, the people will conspire, the people will revolt. It's ineluctable, inevitable. The people will. The people will. Wash away history, rinse out memory, spin dry new truths, repeat. Thank you.
From your mouth to everyone's ears, Linda, thank you so much for those pieces. Well done. I just started thinking about the title of your book, Washing Water, and that sent me in a spin cycle, honestly, thinking about that. So yeah, you could, well, wait a minute, what do you use? How do you, I'm not just going to be thinking about that for the rest of the night. How do you dry it off? I don't know. There's so many, we may have to cancel the reading while I just go on about this.
Water is not always as clean as we think. Sometimes we have to.
It's definitely not. All right. Well, thank you for being here. Great to hear you read. Solid work. Round of applause for Linda V.E. Crawford. On deck, Carrie Cox. Please welcome now Jennifer Elise Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, so I have two. The first is a piece covered by Andrea Gibson. They were kind of a huge inspiration of mine, and one of the first people I knew who used they, them pronouns, and just kind of poetry that they left us on International Non-Binary Peoples Day. So wanted to honor them and their legacy. So this is Andrew. When I was a kid, I would sometimes secretly call myself Andrew, would tug at the crotch of my pants the way only pubescent boys do, ran around pounding on my bare chest like Tarzan. It's not that I thought I'd grow up to be a man. I just never thought I'd grow up to be a woman either. From what I could tell, neither of those categories seemed to fit me. But believe me, I knew from a very young age never to say, hey, Dad, this Adam and Eve thing isn't really working for me. I mean, what about all the people in between? In the third grade, Lynette Lyons asked me where all my Barbies were. I lied and told her I got in trouble, so my mom took them away. I didn't dare say, Barbie sucks, Lynette. And for that matter, Tommy, so does G.I. Joe. I want to grow into something none of us have ever seen before. And gender is just one of the ways we're boxed in and labeled before we're even able to speak who we believe we are or who we dream will become. Like drum beats forever, changing the rhythm. I am living today as someone I had not yet become yesterday, and tonight I will borrow only pieces of who I am today to carry with me tomorrow. No, I'm not gay. No, I'm not straight. And I'm sure as hell not bisexual, damn it. I am whoever I am when I am it, loving whoever you are when the stars shine, and whoever you'll be when the sun rises. Yes, I like girls. Yes, I like boys. Yes, I like boys who like boys. Yes, I like girls who are toys and girls who don't call themselves girls, crew cuts or curls, or that really bad hair phase in between. I like steam rising from the body of a one-night stand. I like holding hands for 3 months before kissing. I like wishing your body was Saturn, my body 1,000 rings wrapped around you. You wanted to be a Buddhist nun once. Last night you held my cervix between your fingers. I thanked God I don't believe in for your changing. Tell me we'll be naming our children beautiful and nothing else. Tell Barbie she can go now. Tell G.I. Joe to put his gun down and find a boyfriend, or a girlfriend, or a girl boyfriend. Fuck it, G.I. Joe just needs a friend, y'all. I mean, he's plastic, and not even the kind of plastic that bends. I want to bend in 1,000 directions, like the sun does, like love does, like time stopped, so the hands of the clock could hold each other. And we held each other like I held these words for too many years on the tip of my tongue. I am my mother's daughter. I am midnight sun. You can find me on the moon, waxing and waning. My heart full of petals, every single one begging, love me, love me, love me. Whoever I am, whoever I become, love me, love me, love me. And that was Andrew by Andrea Gibson. And then one from me that was recently published in Bethlehem Writers Roundtable. This is Adventuring While Depressed and Anxious. The application says to list leadership roles, but I've never had any. I never wanted to be in charge, make decisions, oversee, represent. I don't want to be a protagonist, although adventures sound fun. Make me the NPC who helps you on a side quest, but doesn't lead the way to a fiery death by dragon with a single decision and dice roll. I take too long to decide anyway, and the princess would be eaten. I don't want the princess either, or a prince for the matter. Pursuing happily ever after with someone sounds worse than facing a dragon, because I'd have to face 100 people just to find the one. Not to mention I found out that I'm Arrow and not full of arrows. Perhaps that's the depression talking, or a side effect of my medication. I dream of seeing the world, but worry about changing it for the worse with one wrong step. I want to escape the mental demons, but they'll find me outdoors and assail others. So I lock the doors, curl up in bed under the covers, and let the devils occasionally give me pleasant visions of another world and another me.
You getting some good advice from the devil, Jennifer?
Sometimes.
You gotta just take a sec before you choose whether to follow it, I guess. Thank you for that piece. Thanks very much for the second Andrea Gibson piece of the night. Sorry for your loss, if I may say, and for all of our loss, and appreciate that you shared their poem with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Jennifer Elise Wang. On deck, Michael G. Hickey. Please welcome now Carrie Cox. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad we're back. I have 2 poems tonight. I will say one's a little short and one's a little long. And I'm going to share my screen, so that might help. This one, first one is a rhyming poem. I checked it once, twice, 3 times, maybe. The words come out sloppy. I talk like a baby, throb, head spin, sink, swear up a storm. Midweek conundrums of wash cycle warm, my fingernails bitten down to the quick. My stomach is shrinking, but my brain is still thick. I'm doing everything at once and nothing's getting done. I'm trying to make it all make sense, but it doesn't to anyone. I can't keep up. I can't slow down. I can't give you what you want. Another way I flog myself with single-threaded taunts. Can't finish, can't start, can't work my heart, can't find my keys, can't seem to care. The talks are ticking, the clock just stares, stayed up all night, whispering backward prayers to gods that may or may not be there. Whew, that was fun. Okay, and then the other one is a long one, and this one is tough. This is called Interlaced. This is about the ending of a 37-year friendship. So me and my best friend since we were 13 years old, and I just turned 52, have recently parted ways. So this is called Interlaced. 1. I rotate, eventually coming back to myself. I load the baggage onto the truck and send it packing. A still lake forms inside me. I pull at anchors and old visions of myself from another time, another lifetime maybe, stars pursuing an endless burning, even die, collapsing in giant confusion. We were a conundrum of language, diseases, ways of speaking when in danger. We were danger, meeting itself in a dark alley. We were unprepared. I wobble in orbit, finding full moon fables to foment a new fluster, a faster cluster than speeding light, beaming itself particle and wave, the real super high way I perch now above myself, looking down at who we are without each other. A mirror image breaking apart into pixeled punch bowls and lines and white lies that deal themselves face down. A full house of diamonds and spades, hearts and clubs, and numbered lists of why. There's always one that's not like the other, one that doesn't belong. I'm fluttered and flagrant, deliberately deliberate in my waste of timing and smiled up derision, caught up in nets made of fingers interlaced. 2. Spinning into syncopated rotation, eventually coming back to itself, the baggage unbecomes itself, lighter and weightless, empty space, room to breathe. A storm is breaking inside me, waves cleanse what was a shoreline of regret strewn with drifting dark decisions, a strong current, winds flapping the meaning of things. The eye of the storm, warm and electric, our chemical reactions blending into every other lifetime. Still lakes form everywhere. I fled from the skin and tear ducts and sweat glands, and saliva runs like an illness overtaking a sad body. Every other star, a red dwarf, a milky veil of ether and mist, heated to infinite cleaving, its own unending. We found a home looking up instead of across. We were wearing blinders backwards. We are still unprepared. I smooth out in orbit. I almost seem to dance directly across an ache as blue as the sky before full dark, before the moon gives us some glow to see the way. The real map pinned to the ceiling of the universe, looking down at who we are without remorse, without our hearts or sleeves or any way to remember the right way to build a house of cards. The last joker in the deck dealt double down and dastardly. I'm fragrant with the sounds I ferment into scent, UFOs and aurora-born light shows completely incomplete in my lack of stacked up currency. I'm currently without the will to weave those nets that could catch the slipping sense of ripping seams once so tight, interlaced. 3. I rush down water falling over boulders too rapid to care that I've lost my color. I'm fumbling my form, spending too much of myself, tumbling the bottom, dragging dirt and debris. A raging ocean roils inside me, remembering its own origins. A still lake, another life, a dying star, aching colors of ether, burnt up, deck of cards, all the tantrums we took turns throwing, always knowing what would be the outcome. Come out and see me from the windowsill. I have tricks to show you that I learned when you left, how to separate light from darkness and when to use each. A currency of constellating kindnesses, a witness to the whispering self, the times we skinned our knees, the nails we borrowed to build something better than who we are without ink, in years and days I couldn't live without the first aid kit of your nearness, the salve of your saving, the last cigarette in the pack, no more reasons to smoke. A wicked last rite, a testament to my own survival. I'm torn between 2 times tables, one more fun than the other one, even if nothing ever adds up. I'm tired of that equation. I need the nonsense of now to needle me into necessity. I need the mirrored image to teach me how to see me. I need the parts to merge into something older than the very first word, caught in nets of fingers, forged from foraged fierce devotion, saltwater and sand interlaced. Thank you.
Carrie, you're a powerhouse of poetry and reading your poetry in an intense manner that just draws you in. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for being here. A round of applause for Carrie Cox. On deck, Christopher Bogart. Please welcome now Michael G. Hickey. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Rick. I used to teach a night class that was half poetry, half fiction, and the transition assignment was to do a prose poem. And so I found a packet that I thought I had lost with a couple of prose poems I'd like to read tonight, not mine, other people. And I just kind of wanted to show students that poetry should be about the full range of human emotion, in my humble opinion. So this first one, is a love poem. It's called The Weather on Mercury by Gregory Hishak. Mercury's elongated orbit means that in the course of its 18-hour day, one will experience severe extremes of surface temperature. At night on Mercury's shadow side, it plummets to minus 180 degrees Celsius. At 180 degrees Celsius, it is cold enough to freeze even granite, which likes the cold. Cold enough to splinter the cracked shards of mortified, frozen granite. And then, rising during the mercurial day to temperatures over 350 degrees Celsius, window envelopes will liquefy at 350 degrees Celsius. It is really hot and really cold on Mercury. But there must be, however, about 20 minutes in the morning and again in the afternoon when it's really nice out on Mercury. Twice a day on Mercury, it must be really, really nice out. And it was during one of these times that I hoped we could meet for coffee or a short walk, something just the two of us before the elements conspire to destroy us. It is so brief for us, this window of opportunity. One gets to me every time. Okay, and the second one is by a poet. I don't know, I don't really believe in trigger warnings, but this might be one exception. This is by a poet that a lot of you, she was in every anthology in the 70s that I ever saw, Carolyn Forche. And the odd thing is, she goes to El Salvador with a friend, and I actually met somebody 2 days ago who knows the friend. Okay, so here it is. Carolyn Forche, the Colonel. What you have heard is true. I was in his house. His wife carried a tray of coffee and sugar. His daughter filed her nails. His son went out for the evening. There were daily papers, pet dogs, a pistol on the cushion beside him. Sorry. Some talk of how difficult it had become to govern. There was a parrot that said hello on the terrace. The colonel told it to shut up and pushed himself up from the table. My friend said to me with his eyes, say nothing. The colonel returned with a sack used to bring groceries home. He spilled many human ears on the table. They were like dried peach halves. There was no other way to say this. He took one of them in his hands, shook it in our faces, dropped it into a glass of water, and it came alive there. I am tired of fooling around, he said. As for the rights of anyone, tell your people that they can go fuck themselves. He swept the ears onto the floor with his arm and held the last of his wine in the air. Something for your poetry, no? He said. Some of the ears on the floor caught the scrap of his voice, and some of the ears on the floor were pressed to the ground. Thank you.
Michael, you wear your heart on your sleeve, and you should really see a doctor about that because it could get infected, exposed like that all that
painful,
time.
Yes.
You don't want a bird coming down and landing on it either. Michael, thank you so much for sharing those pieces with us. Good to see you here. Thanks so much. Round of applause for Michael G. Hickey. On deck, Gloria Durgee. Please welcome now Christopher Bogart. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, Rick. Welcome back from Asia. I have two poems, one that is not mine, but it will introduce one that is. Let me explain, first of all, that The book that Rich Loringer was talking about earlier is this one. Right here. Is this one, Silence is Consent. A number of people who are here tonight are in this book. And we're going to do readings in the next few months. But as of right now, what I wanted to do is, like all the rest of us, I've been writing to try to feel better. And this is one of the things that I wrote. If I can share the screen. Yeah. All right. This is the book. Okay. So that's the book. And this, sorry. And this is the first poem. And it's actually not a poem, but a lot of people know it. It's by Pastor Martin Niemöller. And I read a little bit of background about him. By the way, this is also in the beginning of Silence is Consent. And what he was is he was a supporter of Hitler until he wasn't, until he began to realize that this is what was happening. And by that time, this is the cautionary tale. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. I want to say one more thing before I read my poem, and that's basically that I've done a whole lot of thinking about Pastor Niemöller's words, and also about how we find ourselves in this position, and my particular disappointment that my fellow citizens could have, either by voting or by not voting, put us into the position we're in now. And a number of people have said to me, you know, for some of us, this is a position we've been in for a long time. I would like to dedicate it to all of those people. This is my poem. I think it's called First They Came. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Here it is. First they came. First they came for the land of native peoples. And we didn't speak out because we were the ones stealing that land. Then they came for blacks. And we didn't speak out because we had kidnapped them from Africa, enslaved them for 300 years, segregated them from our society, and because we weren't black, we were white. Then in the 50s, they came for our poets, our writers, and our entertainment industry. But we didn't speak at them because what happened to them didn't really seem to matter to us at the time. Then they came for gays. They always seem to be coming for gays. So why would we speak out for gays? We weren't gay. When they came for the immigrants, we didn't speak out because our families had already arrived here. We were safe. Now they're coming for the rest of us. None of us are safe. Now, there is no one left to speak. Thank you.
Terrifying sentiment, Christopher, but important to put in people's ears. Thank you so much for the work on that, for your work, for giving a voice to people who feel frustrated. I may change the title of my new book to Moose Alerts Are Consent. I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Christopher Bogart. On deck, we just have a couple more. Gloria, Digwayne, and me. Digwayne, you're on deck. Please welcome now Gloria. Hello, Gloria.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to read a poem that we would have read 2 weeks ago, but 4th of July happened. Each year at this time, I usually read this, so we'll read it later in July. Fireworks. Sky fills, aerial bombs fly, propelled up from black powder into the night. Spectacular, beautiful, from inside burst forth, red, blue, titanium white, even yellow, splendor dissolved in fire, beginning, middle, past. We disappear that fast. And the second poem is a new one, mine. Men in distant moments. Warm thoughts flow over miles, tickling my ego, my libido, creating laughter and shiver. A pixelated team via sky, knee heaven connection, a dream driven like a Prius, no sound. Wizard, you speak, I'll send ideas. Magician, make them precious pearls into poetry. Sly fox, you, careful, observant, enough mischief to want carefree and uninhibited. Will my witchery ways accept the jumble to turn careful into carefree? Separate mixed pieces, reassemble you for new you? My keys to unlock each exquisite secret of you to become pieces of me. See? Electronic geometry. Thank you.
Gloria, this may be the first time you've mentioned your libido to us. There's no going back. Happy belated 4th of July. That was an explosion of fireworks for us. Thanks so much for being here.
Sure.
Round of applause for Gloria Durgee. On deck is me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Dig Wayne. Hello, Dig.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everybody. I got a couple of old ones tonight. Daniel, I really enjoyed your feature. Thank you. Yeah, this one's called Fucking A, Fucking I. Surrender to my daydreams. Fling my fancy ideas, behaviors, and granola. Live forever. Comforts into the heavens above for safekeeping. Live forever comforts into the heavens above for safekeeping. Wrap my head in a yoga mat. Clip my toenails with vegan menus. Let sock dry gin martinis cure my arthritis. Restore my faith in humanity without emotional drainage. Bivouac all my fears at the ground floor of tall, tall buildings with no stairs or lifts. Take childhood selfies from the roofs with no explanation needed. Bleed out virtual blood from every orifice to maximize the vintage shock value. Soothe my scars with disinformation spread generously across my scalp bones. Disguise my trauma as character choices and live in balance on a tightrope of short fuses strung from one pixelated skyscraper to another. Inhale a cab of vapor that takes you uptown where the shadows are delirious with tomorrow's bullshit doors. Then cascade down, cascade down. Thank you. Another old one, 2003, maybe, I don't know. It's called I Would Rather Have. Halitosis than stenosis, a bald spot than a blood clot, radical free than ED, dropsy rather than a biopsy, reciprocity than a colonoscopy, a series recur than a bone spur, a starring role than a jelly roll, a hippie displacement than a hip replacement, dramaturgy than invasive surgery, never met you than dementia, appendicitis than arthritis, a purple snout than a bout with gout, a belly dancer than stomach cancer, a prehistoric fetus than pre-diabetes, keno than chemo, a slippery floor than my bowels in an uproar, holes in my socks than monkeypox, a life cantankerous than a troublesome pancreas, a life beyond us than high yellow jaundice, kindness than blindness, ROCK in the USA than an elevated PSA, yoga than a toga, arrows in my quiver than cirrhosis of the liver, adventures than dentures, a landline phones than brittle bones, a haiku than a fuck you, poetry than noetry. I would rather have. Thanks.
Dig, you got me thinking. You could add this in if you'd like. You could say, if it's not one thing, it's your mother. Just think about it. It's free.
I'll tell my mother.
No charge for that.
Yeah. I'll
were you at Jerry Garcia's special memorial event at Library Girl?
Yes, I was. I read.
Can you deliver a report for us?
Well, it was a wonderful evening. It was really sweet. Becky was there with their dog, and nice crowd of people. Everyone, I mean, all the poets, everyone had such a wonderful thing to say about Jerry. I was just so glad I was able, that Susan invited me to read, because, as you know, he was very supportive of me, and just so many people. Everybody seems to have the same story about Jerry. He was just so loved, so missed. So it was a wonderful evening, really nice, really gentle evening. It's beautiful. And they have these tiny little wonderful cupcakes there. I don't know if you've ever been over the Library Girl, out by the airport, Santa Monica Airport.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
I've been there a couple times. The cupcakes are selling me to go back now that you remind me of that. Well, good. I'm glad you got to be there and participate in that. Almost everyone here, I'm sure, remembers Jerry from being part of VCP SoCal Poets and introducing poets and ushering that organization into re-existence, as it were. So, and of course, he's the person who brought you to Cobalt many years ago, I think, which I assume is why you're still here, for that matter. So I'm glad to hear all of that. And enjoyed your poems tonight as well.
Thank you very much, Rick. Thanks, everybody.
Good to bring out the classics every now and then. Round of applause for Dig Wayne. Thank you, Dig. I'm going to close out the evening with a couple of poems. The first poem that I am going to read is from my forthcoming book, High Moose Alert. For some, it's forthcoming. For me, it's in my hands right now. Somehow people have figured out how to order it, even though it's not out yet. I'm not telling how, but there you go. It comes out later this month. Poems I wrote last summer when visiting Vancouver, Alaska, and the Yukon. This poem was written early on in the trip. It's called On the Ground in Canada. Little pretext from this. In the previous poem, we learned that Addie and I had to sit separately on our flight thanks to Flair Airlines not being on top of things. On the Ground in Canada. I met Addie in Canada after kissing her goodbye in Los Angeles and after leaving Flair Airlines forever. Waiting for the Uber, it says 3 minutes for many minutes. Longest 3 minutes of my life, but you're with me, Addie. I'd spend an eternity in 3 minutes with you. Once we arrived in Canada and partially disrobed, Addie and I discovered we were both wearing Pink Floyd t-shirts. This is how two people's blood flows together without thinking about it, without any conversation. It's automatic. We drive by Craffles, which may serve crab waffles, crack waffles, or Addie suggests croissant waffles. We may never know. That was the poem On the Ground in Canada. I'm going to paste a link to my book in case you want to pre-order. There you go. This poem I wrote for this week's Torah portion. The Torah portion itself has a fun name, Pinchas. Probably want to say that all day for the rest of the week. It responds to this line of text: you must offer up an ascent offering as a fire offering pleasing to God 13 young bulls, 2 rams, and 14 one-year-old lambs. They must all be unblemished. Take notes, people. This poem is called You Must. On the 15th day of the seventh month, you must do nothing mundane. So if you must operate a light switch or vehicle, do so with the flair of the Sabbath in mind. You must bring bulls and rams and lambs for the offering. Nice ones. They get finicky at the Bulls and Rams and Lambs Collection Center outside the Holy Temple, so no blemishes, please. You must, on the second day, bring more bulls and rams and lambs. They use the ones you brought on the first day already. More are needed. Still no blemishes, please. Also, on the second day, raid the pantry. Grains are needed. If you don't keep raw grains, grape nuts may do, but it depends on who's working that day. On the third day, more unblemished, please. Bulls and rams and lambs are needed. They go through them quick in here, and God is going for some kind of record. Grains, too, of course. It's the same on the fourth and fifth days. If you're running out of bulls and rams and lambs, please keep this in mind for next year. On the sixth day, more of the same is needed, but add in a he-goat. You know what it did. I think I forgot to mention you'll also need to bring a he-goat on all the other days. Sorry, this is all new. Please bring the daily he-goats. Now head into your booths and enjoy the wind and the sky and the stars. Eat your fruit and form your decorative chains. This is all required. You must. There you go. A little list of things that you'll need to do as you go about your daily life. Thank you all for being here, ladies and gentlemen. I especially want to say thank you to Dan Mahoney for being here. I'm going to paste the stuff in the chat again that I pasted earlier. What a fun, awesome reading you gave us, Daniel. So much better than what your brother usually brings us. Honestly, don't tell him I said that. I mean, it was really just a lot of fun. So there in the chat, you can see Dan's Venmo ideas there. You can contribute to the virtual passing of the hat there by giving Dan a tip via Venmo. Please consider doing that. You can download the broadside for Dan's poem at the Cobalt Poets website. On that website, if you haven't already done so, you can add yourself to our email list and get the weekly emails letting you know who's reading. As I mentioned earlier, Blake Lynch, Pennsylvania poet, with a new book on Finishing Line Press will be here next week. Also on that website, let's see, calendar, broadsides, email us. That's it. That's what's on the website. Finally, there's a link to Dan's out-of-print book, Sunblind, Almost Motor Crash, and out-of-print cassette as well. They're at Spork Press. Might as well just go see what this is. Spork Press is about. How could you not? And a link to Dan's press, Bateau Press, right there. So please do support Dan. Yes, you're right, Dig. The pronouns for the goats will be changing as we go forward and are more sensitive to that. That was my bad. Thank you. I have won the evening. I'm now going to click on Ask All to unmute and let you take over.
Just made me laugh every time you said it. It just sounded so funny. Everybody. Oh, by the way, everyone's supposed to bring one. It really tickled me.
I just noticed that if you go to Spork Press to the Dan's page, I guess, or the book's page, there is a 6-minute recording from the tape. I'm just saying.
Technology has won the day.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out myself. I didn't know they had that up.
Yeah, yeah, it's called First Utterance from the Void.
Oh yeah, that's another like dark black metal one.
Seems like it. Artist Abaddon, album Lock, Choke, Distort, Dead Black Monarch. Very funny.
Is
I still
utterly
have
another goat reference?
What, Nathan?
This one has roosters in it.
You never know what'll come to roost in our poems. Going forward, Rick, is our goats going to be required to bring along with the one drink minimum? Is there like going to be a one goat minimum also?
There will be a one goat minimum, but we're not going to specify gender any longer.
But you must bring one.
They goat
They
Christmas.
go. They go.